Last time on Australia Rediscovered with Ricko.
The locals here in Breeza will tell you that it was right here that the famous Australian bushranger Ben Hall was born.
Ben Hall's progression from young stockman to wanted bushranger was, in many respects, not surprising. Ben seems to have been a victim of circumstance and of the people who were a part of his life.
It's right here at Escort Rock where the legend of Ben Hall was born.
At that moment, 6 men, faces blackened, emerged from behind a large rock and started firing at the coach.
Now they made away with £14,000 worth of gold and cash, which in today's money would be somewhere in excess of $5 million.
Gardner and his gang were now wanted men, and a new name emerged that would become synonymous with the rugged Robin Hood-style gentleman bushranger, Bold Ben Hall. Australia. A land of extremes. And the stories of those who discovered the secrets of the Australian continent and made this land great are worth telling. So join me as I recount and retrace the footsteps of Australia's greatest stories. On Australia Rediscovered with Ricko.
Frank Gardner, Ben Hall and the rest of the gang have just pulled off the biggest heist in the young colony's history, but what happens next is simply astonishing.
In this episode of Australia Rediscovered with Ricko, I'll be travelling throughout the region where Ben Hall plied his trade, to Goobung Creek, just outside of Forbes. The Eugowra gold escort robbery was, up to that point, the most lucrative heist Australia had seen. Sir Frederick Pottinger, the Chief Inspector of the Lachlan region, had mounted an immediate response, and in no time, the police trackers had found the bushrangers' trail.
Down a red dirt path, covering their tracks, strangers in the light of day. Can't fight it, can't stop, and if they get caught, it's gonna be hell to pay.
Gardner had fled to his secluded hideout in the Wedden Mountains, 60 miles south of Eugowra, with Hall, John O'Mealy and John Bowe. The other members of the gang went separate directions, hoping to escape the police. Pottinger had split his search party into two, with one staying around the Forbes and Wago area and Pottinger heading south.
They've been followed down through the hollow till a hand grabbed her by the arm.
Within weeks, most of the gang were in police custody. Johnny Gilbert and Henry Mans were intercepted by Pottinger near Forbes, but Gilbert escaped. He later rescued Mans in a fierce gun battle with the police and managed to retrieve some of the Eugowra loot, but they were now marked men. Frustrated by his loss of Gilbert and Mans, Pottinger then embarked on a campaign to harass and arrest anyone in the Wago area that he knew were unsavoury characters. Among those arrested were Ben Hall, William Hall and Daniel Charters. Charters was an old friend of Ben Hall's, and the two of them had been part of Gardner's gang and were instrumental in choosing the site of the robbery.
Eventually, Daniel Charters goes rogue and he informs on everyone in the gang as a state witness, with the exception of O'Mealy and our old mate Ben Hall.
Charters named Frank Gardner, Ben Hall's brother-in-law John Maguire, Alexander Fordyce, John Bowe and Henry Mans as the men responsible for the robbery. It is widely believed that Charters was paid quite well for his information. With Gardner still on the run, Maguire, Fordyce, Bowe and Mans were committed for trial in Sydney. Ben Hall, meanwhile, was granted bail after spending 6 weeks behind bars. This would be the last time that Hall would see the inside of a court or jail cell. Charters testified in court against his co-conspirators and in his evidence claimed that he was only present to look after the horses while the robbery took place, a claim that was later proven to be false. However, the jury found this evidence compelling, and in February 1863, Bowe, Fordyce and Mance were found guilty and sentenced to hang. Maguire escaped conviction. Later, Bowe and Fordyce's sentences were commuted to life, and only Henry Mance would eventually hang for the crime. The bulk of the loot taken at Eugowra was never recovered. Some believe that much of the gold and banknotes are still hidden somewhere in the Weddin Mountains, and over the years, many people have attempted to find the stash, including 3 mysterious men from America who claim to have intimate knowledge of both the area and the robbery. It is believed that these men were either the nephews or the sons of Frank Gardner, but little is known of either of the men or the results of their search.